All right, now we're going to do kind of a portrait shoot. This is Mark. Mark was also helping us out in the first video. So how you doing, Mark?
Good. How are you?
Thank you for being here, man.
Good to see you.
And we're setting them up like we're doing an engagement portrait here. Now, some of the things that you're going to do, most likely if you're doing an engagement portrait, you're going to wind up being in their own home. This is, of course, not their home, but you're going to have to deal with what is in their home. And in our case, we have natural light behind them. It's kind of nice because you can see the way it light Mark's hair and it lights Shay's hair on the other side. So there's some really nice aspects to having it backlit. The problem's going to be is they're going to be a little dark to the camera. And this is one of the tricky things that that's going to really throw you off on the set because your eyes will adjust. Your eyes are designed to show them fully lit, no problem, but the camera is still going to show them dark and the background light. So there's a couple things that we can do in camera and on the set to fix that. So the first thing we're going to do is let's get them positioned, and we're going to go over here to the camera position. So I'm going to shoot this wide this time, and so I'm kind of going to get a head and shoulders type of shot of them. We're going to shoot at, we'll start at the same thing we were at before, the f2.8, and we'll see what we get. Let's go ahead and get together there, guys, and very nice. You guys look like a real couple. Alrighty, so we take a look at the picture. You can see, even from where you're looking at, the screen is actually blinking. Those are the highlight warnings I was talking about earlier. And it's just blinking on and off. Let me turn it on again so you can see. Now, what is blinking is stuff that's outside. So I have to decide how important is it that that stuff's outside, but I can already tell you there's a problem. They look too dark. And that makes sense. They're backlit. So they're going to be too dark in front. So we're going to have to add light to this. There's a couple of different things that we can try. One of them is a reflector. We could try to take some of the light from the window and bounce it back to them. So I'm going to have Brad grab a silver reflector and we'll try that and see how that works. But I imagine what we're going to have to wind up doing is bringing in some kind of a light source. But first, let's talk about the problem. Let's make the outside look good. So what I could do is, I took the shot. I know I have blinkies. I know I have highlight clipping already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a test shot by dropping it down. I'm going to use my exposure compensation like I talked about earlier. So let's do that. Press the button, down 1/3 of a stop, and shoot again. And let's see if the blinkies are as bad. Nice, you guys. Okay, let's just compare the two. Oh, much better. It dropped the blinkies by about 50%, and the background now has more detail. I can actually see a little bit more outside the window. Now, it is perfectly acceptable, especially even in architectural photography, to have the outside be completely blown out. They used to try to struggle with that and try to always make the inside and the outside be balanced, but more and more, even in very high-end architectural photography and in portraiture, you can have the background blow out. But in this case, I think it's easy enough. Maybe we drop it 1/3 of a stop to -0.7. And then let's take a shot. Guys, one more time. Very nice. And look at that. The blinkies are gone. All right, so it took me 10 seconds to get rid of the blinkies in the background. So now I have the background looking great. You guys are too dark. Let me have Brad come in with a silver reflector and let's see if that makes a big enough difference. So now, where are we going to place the reflector? Well, let's think about this. We have light coming in that way, so we've got to try to get some of the light from the window back onto them. And so Brad's going to hold the reflector here and try to get some on this way. Let me have you on this side, Brad, right over here. And so ideally what I want to do is the most important thing is to have some direction to your light. You want to have some direction so it's not flat lighting. So I want to have shadows on one side of their face. So what Brad's going to do is bring in a reflector and go ahead and put it down and bring it back up so they can see the difference, Brad. So you can see how the light, it's almost like he brought a light in here. And so now they're getting a little bit of light, and I want shadows on this side of their face and light on that side. Let me take a test shot and see how that does. Now, I'm just going to position Brad so he's just outside the frame. So okay, you're actually in it a little bit, out. You're out right there. Let's take a look. All right, let me just compare with what we had before. Let's see. It's a little better, but there's just not enough light coming out through the window, so we're going to have to use a light. Now, we have two choices of what we can do for light, and whichever you're most comfortable with. If you're brand new to studio lighting, I'm going to recommend what we're going to use here on the set, which is it's called a hot light. In other words, it's a light that is always on. So you're not having to work with wireless strobes or anything. The particular one we're going to use is from a company called Westcott. It's a Westcott spider light, and it's called a TD5 is the particular one we're going to use. And David, if I can have you bring in this. David is our second assistant on the set today. Hi, David. How you doing, man? There's David, and he's helping us out. So I'm going to have David turn that around towards the camera if you'll actually kind of aim it this way. You can see it's just a big softbox, but the light on the inside is it just stays on. There are actually 4 very, very large fluorescent bulbs in there. So what's nice about this is it's absolutely cool to the touch. So you don't have to worry about your subjects feeling any hot light on them. It is absolutely cool. You can put your hand right up to it. You can get this right up close to a baby or anything you want. There's absolutely no heat whatsoever. And what's nice is it's daylight balanced, which is particularly why I like to use it in a situation where we're using daylight in the room, because the light is already perfectly balanced to daylight. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have David swing this around there. We're going to get this as close to our couple as we can. You can see right now, just by looking, what a difference that made. There's the directional light I was looking for. Look at Mark's face. You can see a shadow from the camera position on the left side of his face. And look at Shay's nose. You can see a little bit of shadow, and that's exactly where you want it. Her cheek is still nicely lit. It's just instantly nice light. It can't be any easier. All you did was turn it on. And by the way, that's all you really can do with spider lights. They're on or they're off. There's no like dimming mechanism. That's nice if you're brand new to studio photography, because then you don't have to worry about it. You're just going to turn them on and then you're just going to position it. Now, the key is, do you position it to the left or to the right? There's not really necessarily a rule of law to where that is, unless you already kind of have some light coming in one direction. You don't want to put it on the opposite side. But in this case, we had no light coming from up front, so we can put it on whatever side we like. I just put it on the right because I just figured it would look good, and it looks great. So that's also called luck. All right, let's see how you guys are looking. Let's take a test shot now. Oh, much, much better. I think I want to go a little brighter with it. So let me see how much closer I can get the light. Move it in just a little bit more, David. Keep going. Keep going. All right, you're in the frame, so pull out just a hair more right there, so we can get it nice. By the way, the closer you get the light to them, the softer and more wrapping the light will be. So it gets brighter, but it also gets softer, and that's kind of hard to get your head around when you're brand new to studio photography, but that's how it works. So the closer we get, we're using a bigger softbox. Why are we using such a big softbox? Because the bigger it is, the softer it is. So let's go ahead and get you guys nice and close. Very nice. All right, now I'm going to adjust my f-stop a little bit, and let's see if we can make this just a little bit brighter. Let's see how we're doing here. All right, we're at f4. Now, here's what you can do. If you want to get a little more extra light too, you can increase your ISO on the camera. So if I were to take my ISO up to like 800, all right, and don't even change my shutter speed, then it gets a little bit brighter as well. So very nice though, nice lighting, very, very easy. And guys, is it hot? You don't feel any heat from the light at all. It's completely soft. And what I really like about this is what you see is what you get. You just put the light there and you're not wondering what's it going to look like when I fire the strobe. Exactly what you see in the set is what you get. I want to point out one real quick thing too also, and it's about the closeness of putting couples together. Now, I've worked with Mark and Shay before, so they knew instinctively when I got in here to get really, really close. One of the biggest mistakes that you see people make is they won't actually get as close as this. You'll say, okay, get close, and they have a gap between them. And the gap between them, they feel like they're very close. And I do this with husbands and wife all the time. Here's the trick to get them to get really close. Take the shot and you will physically see a gap between them. I walk over to them and I show them the back of the camera. I go, see that big gap between the two of you? And they go, oh yeah. They feel like they're close, but they're not. Now these two, they have no problem getting close, but a lot of people, they feel like they're really close, but they don't. These are professional models, so they're very comfortable with this. But even with a husband and wife, they feel like they're really close. Big gaps this big between their heads all the time. Very, very common. Show them the picture. Show them what the problem is. They fix it like that. Okay, so that's how we were able to fix this whole problem using just one simple light, a TD5 Westcott spider light, and a very large softbox.